Right. Call this special call meeting for July 14th of the City Commission to order. Rick, could you call the roll today?
I'll be happy to. Tony Gross.
Present.
Bob Stoller.
Present.
Gary Corlew absent. Glenn Remick.
Present.
Gordon Lampley.
Present.
We have 4 present, so we have a 4.
All right, on to new business, appointing an administrative hearing officer.
All right. We have a situation where we have a codes violation that we've attempted to address through our codes department, the party barn. It's up on here. Okay. And we're being unsuccessful in just our regular avenue of discourse, and so we need to address it. It's come to our attention that we do not have an administrative hearing officer, which when we have codes violations, people who are cited on those need an opportunity to appeal those citations, and so that would be to administrative hearing officer rather than to our city court. And so we looked through our code, chapter 3 of the municipal ordinances, as well as Title 6 of the statute. We have enacted the provision to have an administrative hearing officer. We don't currently have one in place. They serve for a term of 4 years, so it's been at least 4 years since we've had to do this. So tonight, I would ask that we appoint someone, or at least determine qualifications or salary, and then get some more names back. I have had some opportunity to talk to different people. I talked with Mary Gross today and understood that the city had not had specific people in mind, and so I went ahead and made some contacts today just to kind of get a feel to present to you all tonight. The code requires the administrative hearing officer be either a licensed building inspector, a licensed plumbing inspector, licensed electrical inspector, a licensed attorney, licensed architect, or licensed engineer. Or if you don't want to appoint one of those, we can go through the Tennessee Secretary of State's office through their administrative hearing judges and contract with them to send one of those out to us to hear the matter. I got online today and looked at their list of judges. I mean, it's probably 12 to 15. I don't know who specifically we would get out of that, but we would contract with them to provide us a hearing officer on that.
And it's a contracted position for 4 years, so we would pay them as contracted when used over this 4-year period.
Correct.
What would be the contract price for Davidson?
They did not have that posted online anywhere. It was the state website. They didn't really have, that would be something we would have to make a connection with directly at the Secretary of State's office to get that concrete information.
Because my guess is that the administrative hearing officer, if we've not had one, doesn't meet very often.
We haven't met 4 years.
Right,
So, I reached out today to Mike Armstrong. He used to be the building inspector in Cheatham County. And spoke with Sharon Caton as well, who used to be the planner. Confirmed Mike is not a licensed building inspector. Ms. Caton is, but it's in Georgia, so that doesn't do us any good. I've left a message for Tim Potter, who's the city attorney for several municipalities in Dixon County.
So Tim would.
I've left a message for him. Same thing with, he's out of town until Tuesday.
We've all had Tim before.
Right, so you have some feel of him. Jerry Smith, he represents, I believe he represents Charlotte.
I know Jerry too.
And has some sense of real estate workings. I also reached out to Dan Small. I did talk with him. He indicated he would be interested. He just kind of want to think it over a little bit and talk with his wife over it. He primarily focuses on securities, but I have also dealt with him on real estate matters, hiring commercial real estate matters. He lives in Pleasant View. He's the husband of Debbie Small, who's president of Cheatham State Banks. If that name sounds familiar to you. He indicated, I asked him what kind of rate he would look at charging. He basically asked what we charged as city attorney, and I told him that we had the $175 an hour. He said that would be the rate that he would be comfortable with. And then there are some training that would be required for the person that we appoint. They have to, within 6 months, do a training certification through MTAS, and then they have to get continuing education. Hey, here. Mark Hughes, present here. to get continuing education credits, and so that would be the stipulations that the city would pay for that training as well. So those are the resources that.
What
I
about
could
the fellow from GMRC,
Sam
and
Edwards?
Sam Edwards?
We tried to contact him, we're unsuccessful in hearing back from him.
Okay.
So Sam Edwards used to run GNRC. He's kind of the guru with respect to planning and zoning. In fact, the planning and zoning seminar that you sent me to in November, he chaired that.
Yeah.
He did an excellent job. So.
He is very, very knowledgeable.
So we would not,
Well, he's real good friend of Tony Campbell.
He is.
Isn't-
so we can't address Hickory Drive until we find, train, or we can pull somebody from the state. so-
Or we can contract with the state, yes.
Which
So if
we
we
don't have to
contract
pay for
with the
training.
state,
We don't have to.
What I would propose we do is that you all authorize us to proceed today with either continuing to contact one of these individuals and getting pricing, or to get the pricing list from the Secretary of State, or both. And then that, when we have your meeting next Thursday, you'd actually have a hard firm number that you could work with.
has Tim, Jerry, or Dan ever done this before? I mean,
I know-
Tim is very, I know he has a lot of municipalities.
Yeah,
Um,
Dan has not ever done it before, I can answer that question easily. Tim and Jerry, I don't know that they have ever been in the capacity of being the hearing officer,
Mhm.
but they have certainly been on the attorney's side, in dealing with planning and zoning issues.
Would it, I mean, if we would hire somebody from the state to come in, would that be a one-time situation? Would we have to, then we would have to fill that role for 4 years?
I think what we would do is, first of all, ask, could we put you on contract for 4 years on an as-needed basis, and make kind of like à la carte, pay you as we need you, so that we don't
Yes.
have a continuing fee every time. And if they're not interested in doing that, then, we could, I mean, the problem is the appointment by statute is 4 years.
Okay.
So, you could either look at going on contract with the state, paying only as needed, or if they require a minimum every year, then it would be better to hire an individual and you're paying them on an hourly rate.
Correct.
So, if the Davidson County folks, they would be certified
Yes.
already?
Yeah, because the statute specifically says their administrative law judges that work in the Secretary of State's office would satisfy the requirements.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to be a licensed attorney or licensed building inspector. But again,
Well,
we're
we
not
don't know what-
necessarily
we don't
getting
know what-
somebody that is
Charge.
We don't know what the charges are, what their arrangement is. I
correct.
mean, all three of these gentlemen you've mentioned here, I don't actually know Dan Small, but I know his wife, and the other two are quite competent people from my experience with them. So I would be fine with any one of them, but it would be interesting to know also what our option is as far as the state goes, I think. So what you're looking for tonight would maybe for us just to authorize you to look into that at least, so we could come back with that information maybe
Correct.
possibly by next Thursday?
By next Thursday, yes.
And
I just-
consider it then, and then we can make a decision from, and I take it you're going to pursue Tim, speaking to Tim and Jerry as well?
Correct.
Okay.
And I didn't know if you all, so one of the things when I'm talking to these people, I feel like we need to put out there is, who's gonna pay for this training? So I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure before I started promising what the city was interested in doing, I thought, we could at least tonight commit to, if we're hiring an individual, that we would.
Do we have any idea what the cost of the training is?
Maybe not.
Okay.
And
I
that's
mean,
fantastic.
because the fact that Dan Small is willing to work for the same hourly rate as you, I know Tim's going to be higher.
Mhm.
I don't know about Jerry, but I know Tim is, because he interviewed here, I think he was at 250. I mean, not a huge amount, but.
Unless you all know
Different, but-
licensed engineers that are, residents here in Kingston Springs. I mean,
And it's okay to have someone local oversee this position over someone else who
If
might
they're
be
an
their
neighbor.
neighbor. I mean, how does that, that's.
there's no residency or non-residency
Okay.
requirement to it.
But ideally, because these would all be three attorneys that have municipal experience,
Yeah.
government
Or real,
experience,
two of them have government, Dan Small has some real estate.
some real estate experience. Because I mean, I think a lot of attorneys that live here that just don't have that experience.
Right.
But no one has certification.
So basically we need to look at two factors here. We need to first see, we need to find out what it costs to, if we choose one of these folks, to train them. We already have one hourly rate for Dan Small. And we also need to see what it's going to cost to just use one of the people from the state, what kind of arrangement we can make with them, whether it can be a 4-year, like I said, kind of a la carte type thing where we can use them and not use them, or if it can be, or if we have to have some kind of greater commitment to that. And I think that would be the main deciding factor, because since they're already qualified, we can have an arrangement where we can use them when needed. That would be ideal.
Sure.
Um,
And that has some of the
Probably the
best.
most cost effective, certainly.
And I would also, with y'all's permission, also attempt to follow up with Sam Edwards, and if he's a close friend with Tony Kimball, I might could actually get a cell phone number, because I was working on just
I
an
think he is
email
over there.
address.
Yeah,
I can call Tony.
Yeah.
So,
And Sam, it seems like, I mean, would he have this certification already? I mean,
I would assume, well, yeah, he's an attorney. So-
oh, he's an attorney.
I
and,
believe he's an
yeah,
attorney.
yeah.
So that would
But the
qualify.
training that also goes into this, I was wondering
He may.
if he already has that training under his belt.
He may, and that might be a benefit, that'd be a question to ask.
Okay, so we need to,
If you would, I would pass a resolution tonight authorizing me to continue to communicate with these persons, and with Secretary of State to get information about pricing, contracts, and when I'm talking with them, I guess authorizing me to extend the city, if they have not already had their training, that the city would pay for the training, because we have to have it unless we go to the Secretary of State's route. And
Okay.
in my conversation with Mr. Small this afternoon was basically, I'm on an information gathering mission, we're trying to put together a slate for people for the city council to look at. Can we talk a little bit about this, what you might charge, et cetera?
and I'd also like to see, hopefully, if we could, what the cost of the training is going to be by next Thursday, just so that when we're looking at this, and say we have a price from the Secretary of State's office versus what it's going to cost, say, for hiring one of these other individuals plus training, and so we'll have an idea what's the best route.
And I think the time constraint of the training, of the certification, because I'm sure MTS doesn't offer this every week.
They have to offer it a minimum of twice a year. It does not say though that they have to have the training prior to becoming a hearing officer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just says that within 6 months, they have to have it. The administrative law judges don't have to have training.
So it's just a matter of, we have to maintain some sort of training and continuing education for them.
Correct. The first one that they have to do within 6 months, MTS does that and issue a certificate of participation. And then each year they have to have 6 hours of continuing education, also developed by MTS.
Do we have a motion to allow Martha Brooke to continue, the city attorney to continue to communicate with the recommended individuals and with the Secretary of State's office, and to also find out from the Secretary of State pricing? I guess I'll just go ahead and make this motion, pricing and what the contracts are, and then also to look into the cost of training.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'd assume with the training, oh yeah, and then the next thing is amending the 2016-17 budget to appropriate funds for this, but I assume that we don't have enough information to do anything like that, so.
Okay, so I will have that information together, and I'll just email it out to you all prior to your meeting next Thursday, and then we'll just put it as an agenda item. And Ms. Miller will be here. Answer any questions you might have.
I'd
So we
like
need to have both of those items on the agenda next week.
next week. Correct.
Yeah, I'd like this to move swiftly if possible. All right, is there anything else? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none,